Hey everybody, it is Tanya QC, the Comfy Empath. Long time no see. Glad to be back and doing a live. Today I wanted to talk to you about something that's really important to highly sensitive people and empaths and, well, really to everybody, and that is the ability to say no. And so today we're going to talk about 5 ways to say no as an empath and a highly sensitive person. So before I get started, I wanted to talk a little bit about why this is so important. And I think we know deep down inside that it's important, but especially as empaths and highly sensitive people, we have a tendency to kind of cave because we are natural nurturers and we really want to help people, and we can really fall into the trap of people pleasing. And it's wonderful when it is in a reciprocal way, but sometimes it is not so much. And when we look at that, it always stems from some sort of insecurity that we have in ourselves, whether that is about a fear of the outcome or not wanting to sort of rock the boat in a situation. But regardless, the ability to say no is the number one way to give you confidence as a person, and specifically as an empath and a highly sensitive person. Because did you know that you teach people how to treat you? And so when you learn how to say no, you are creating a boundary, and these boundaries are basically letting people know what is acceptable for you and what is not. And it really takes the pressure off. So once they know how you like to interact and what's going to work and what not work, they're probably going to stop asking. So think about the amount of freedom that's going to give you to be able to just go, I don't have to stress out about it anymore. How amazing is that going to be? So this is really about learning how to take care of ourselves, letting go of any of those feelings of being stuck in a loop of negative energy and feeling like we're not really taking care of ourselves. Because over time, the more that we do this, the more that we feel a sense of stress. You can feel bitter and angry and even really resentful. And over time, that's just going to make you feel horrible. And you know what? You deserve better. So let's do a little scenario, okay? Now, you tell me if this sounds familiar. You're having a great day. Got your to-do list or whatever it is that you like to do. Everything's on track. You're getting stuff done. You feel really great. And then suddenly you hear from a coworker or a friend or a family member, and they want your undivided attention. They want you to stop everything that you are doing in that moment and focus 100% on them and their needs and what they want. And they might not have an intention to do that, but often that's how we can interpret it and how it can feel. So they want you to shift gears and go and help out with something. And there you were in the groove, feeling super creative and, getting stuff done and feeling good. But in the end, you end up caving because you just don't want to let them down. And so you're like, wait a minute. What? What just happened there? Why does this keep happening? Right? Does that sound familiar? Because at the heart of it, what's going on is that you were feeling insecure about yourself or your ability to say no or something else. It might be the relationship or, again, the situation or the outcome of the situation that you're concerned about. I mean, there's 1,001 different reasons why we do these things, but ultimately, you're giving in because you don't want to let them down. So, we're going to talk a little bit about boundaries and understanding what works for you and what does not. And this is sort of a lead off into a series that I've got coming up called Boundary Setting for Empaths and Highly Sensitive People. That'll be coming out starting next week. And it's really a guide, a very detailed guide on how to actually figure out what your boundaries are, how to set them, how to get ready to set them, because that's really important. And that way you're doing it without a sense of fear or feeling stressed out, which is awesome. And then how to actually set your boundaries. And so that's coming up next week. But I wanted to, in the short term, give you something really quick, give you 5 ideas to get you started. So let's talk about that. So the number one way to say no as an empath is to actually use the word no. Pretty simple, right? You've probably heard that no is a complete sentence. And the reason that this is true and effective is because it's to the point. There's no room for miscommunication or people feeling like they didn't quite understand or taking you the wrong way. You're not going to have a lot of stress. And the bonus here is that you're doing yourself and the other person a solid, right? There's no energy going to be coming with you later and worrying about it and stressing out it after and wondering why you didn't say no and how come I should have done this, I could have done that. All of that stuff is gone because no is clear and concise and it doesn't require any more time or energy afterwards. So that's tip number 1. Now, if that's something that's a little bit challenging for you, we'll move on to tip number 2. And tip number 2 on how to say no as an empath and a sensitive person is understand that it is okay to delay. It's okay to delay. It's okay to delay. Kind of like my Facebook, which is giving me a 3-second delay. I should make that into a mug. It's okay to delay. Anyway, hey, if you are feeling anxious or pressured in the moment, just breathe. Now, it doesn't have to be as exaggerated as I just did, but get yourself grounded and then answer, or better yet, take a couple of minutes or an hour or 2 or a day or longer. It's not written down anywhere you have to answer in the moment. Again, you are teaching people how to treat you. So if they know you're someone who wants to take a bit of time to measure out the options, think about the situation, they're not going to have a huge expectation of hearing from you right there in the second. And oh my gosh, think of how much freedom that is for you. That gives you so much space so that you don't feel pressured or rushed. It gives you space to think about what you want to say. It might end up being no, but at least this way you don't have to worry about doing it in the moment. And I want you to remember, it is totally okay to do that. Tip number 3, this is something that empaths and highly sensitive people are very, very good at, and that is offer an alternative solution. Now, if you're anything like me, you have a super keen mind and you have this amazing, amazing way to retain details and see things that might be beneficial to people and understand what works in different situations. I mean, it's all part of the empath superpowers, right? We have our own little specialties, but you will have a lot of information. So this is the time to do that. So here we are, and somebody's asked you to do something and it's not really what you want to do. So offer somebody in your place, give them a referral, provide them different choices, or share some methods that they may never have thought of. Number 4 in saying no as an empath and a highly sensitive person is to use your natural communication skills. Now, if you feel saying no is just too scary or difficult, get creative. You are a creative person, right? And you have your own way of doing that. Now, if you like humor, jokes are a really awesome way to do this, especially now that everything is electronic, right? So if you're sending an email or a text message, send a meme. There's a lot of really funny ones out there that you can use to say no. And if you're artistic and visual, try a little exercise and write down the things that you feel comfortable with and those you don't. So this is like a little short boundary list that you can have as a visual, like do some little doodles. And so if somebody asks you and that situation comes up, you can think of that doodle and it'll remind you, oh yeah, that's a no. That doesn't work for me, right? Or if you love reading and some really good vernacular and you're a wordplay person, think of some creative and descriptive ways to say no. Remember, it doesn't have to be difficult or hard or scary. It's okay to have fun coming up with alternatives. And that's what's really going to take the edge off for you and help you set your own unique boundaries. And the 5th way to say no as an empath and highly sensitive person is take advantage of your technology. Now, you probably know that emails have built-in autoresponders, but did you know that there is something similar in your cell phone and on social media and even apps, even your GPS in your car? You can turn off those little notifications. You know, when your phone sort of goes bing, 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 or you're middle of doing something, you hear bing, and you get that sense of dread. It's like, oh my gosh, it's that coworker, the conversational bulldozer. He never listens to me, he just talks and talks. See the anxiety and the stress? Turn it off. If it's not essential to your work, turn it off. Take a chance. Put the phone on, dare I say it, airplane mode. Put the phone on airplane mode so that you're not disturbed. Carve out a little bit of personal space and time, and that's really going to take the edge off saying no and help you to feel much better. So remember, with all of these tips, practice makes perfect. The more that you do this, the easier it is going to become. And sometimes setting boundaries as an empath and a highly sensitive person can be really challenging. But when you learn how to do this and you are creating a sense of self-respect and love for yourself, you're going to understand that this is going way beyond empath protection and going way beyond coping strategies, because this is coming from deep inside. And this is where the change happens, is when you know what is actually triggering you, what is okay for you, and what is really not. And that way you're not going to be stuck in that position again where you're feeling pressured or you're creating scenarios in your head of what might happen. You're going to know what's okay and what's not, and so it makes it a lot easier to say no. So use the 5 tips that I just talked about. If you need a refresher, head over to comfyempath.com/blog, and I've just put this up as a blog post, and I'll probably put a link to it on the page as well if I haven't already, and you can check it out there too. Let me know what you think. Share it, send a comment, send some love. If you think this is beneficial to you or maybe will help some other people, then please do share it on. I would like to get this information out to more people, because once you start to experience the benefits of saying no and giving yourself that freedom, and, let's face it, this is treating yourself with the respect that you deserve. Once you learn how to do that, you're going to feel so much lighter in your heart, and you're going to feel like you have so much energy because you are freeing up a lot of space from all this worry and should I have done this and shouldn't I have done that and what could I have done instead and what do I do next time, and all this stuff that we as empaths hold on to that makes us tired and overwhelmed and stressed out. And I betcha the more that you start to do this, the more that you're going to want to set some boundaries. So, hey, if you haven't signed up for the newsletter yet, head over to comfyempath.com. Sign up for the newsletter, and it's going to have some information about the new post that's coming up next week. Again, that's a series on learning how to set boundaries as an empath and a highly sensitive person, and I'm writing it as a very detailed guide. But in the short term, check out this blog post with these 5 points. I hope you found them helpful. If so, give me a thumbs up, a little bit of love. Please share this video and let other people who could benefit from it. All right, I hope you're having a wonderful day. I will catch you guys next time. I am Tanya, the Comfy Empath, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye.